We've codified our existence to bring it down to human size, to make it comprehensible. We've created a scale so that we can forget its unfathomable scale.
Greetings. I am Hatshepsut, Pharaoh of Egypt. You see, I have watched the rise and fall of civilizations, the construction of empires, and the triumphs of mankind. But there are forces beyond any ruler's control. Forces that, when left unchecked, can lead to destruction. And so, we find ourselves in a time and place far from my own land. The time of Anne Frank, in the midst of the Second World War. It was a time when humanity, though advanced, lost its way, drowning in hatred and fear. And in the midst of this storm stood a young girl, a child with dreams, fears, and hopes. Let me tell you her story. One of courage and resilience, a story that still echoes through the ages. Episode 1, The Quiet Before the Storm. In the year 1929, a child named Anne Frank was born in the city of Frankfurt, Germany, to Otto and Edith Frank. At first, her life was like any other child's. A world filled with simple pleasures, curiosity, and the warmth of family. Yet, much like the ancient dynasties I watched rise and fall, the world around Anne was about to face a brutal shift. The ground was shifting beneath their feet, and Anne was too young to understand the full extent of the storm brewing on the horizon. By the time Anne was a little girl, a man named Adolf Hitler had risen to power. Hitler, who promised to restore Germany's power after the First World War, spread a venomous ideology that blamed the Jewish people for the nation's suffering. The entire world was in turmoil. Political instability, economic depression, and the threat of war loomed large. As the Nazi regime tightened its grip on Germany, the Frank family's position as Jews became increasingly dangerous. In 1933, the Nazis began implementing oppressive laws against Jews, laws that stripped them of their rights, their livelihoods, and their dignity. The atmosphere in Germany was charged with hatred, like an angry desert wind that has gathered strength, waiting to strike. Anne and her family saw the walls close in around them. They had no choice but to flee to Amsterdam, hoping for refuge in a land that seemed more secure. But even in Amsterdam, peace would not last. The horrors of war were spreading throughout Europe. The Nazis' reach extended far beyond Germany, and by 1940, the Netherlands had been invaded. Europe was consumed by the flames of conflict, and no place seemed safe. Anne, a young girl once unaware of the violence that brewed outside her window, now had to confront a harsh reality. She was no longer simply a child. She was a target. The Nazis were determined to hunt down Jews, to erase them from existence. The world Anne knew was slipping away, just as the Egyptian Empire had witnessed the collapse of entire dynasties, unable to withstand the ravages of time. Anne was no longer just a girl. She was a witness to a world on fire. I have known the weight of power, how fragile it can be, how it shifts like sand beneath your feet. But power in the hands of hatred, as seen in those who sought to destroy the Jews, is a force of ruin. Anne Frank, a girl swept up by forces greater than her, showed us the depths of human suffering. Yet even in such darkness, she found a light in her words. Her story reminds us, when all seems lost, the human spirit can still endure. Power is not always in what we conquer, but in what we leave behind.